Hello, my name is Quinn, and today I'm walking through the basement of a bank on a journey to find my dog.
Halt, intruder.
Oh, I didn't expect that to happen.
You will go no further, intruder.
I need to find my dog.
You cannot pass.
Is there a way to convince you to let me pass?
You may choose a payment plan to be allowed passage. Please choose one of the two plans.
What are the plans?
The first plan is a plan that takes 10% of your current bank account value, which is $100 for the next 10 years. Or you could choose the second payment plan, which is a plan that takes 10% of the money in your bank account every year for the next 10 years.
Alright, I guess I need to find out which plan's better and choose it.
Affirmative.
I better get to calculating then. Hey guys, it's John Math here, and today I'm going to teach you how to calculate depreciation. Depreciation is a lot like our last lesson, but this time instead of gaining money, you are losing money. In this problem, we see the option for two different payment plans of either 1 or 10% of the $100 in Quinn's bank account per year for the next 10 years, or 10% of the money in Quinn's bank account, which is currently $100 for the next 10 years. You see, one of the plans is compound interest, where although it may start easily, where you just take off 10% of 100, it then goes down to 90, and then you have to take 10% of that number, which makes it a little bit more difficult. On the other hand, the other payment plan is simple interest, where you just take off 10% of 100 for 10 years. 10% each year. And so now we'll calculate the first payment plan. So since the first payment plan is 10% of 100 for the next 10 years. And we will assume that this is annually. So essentially they collect their payment once a year. Now to calculate this, we need to do what we did before. So first we need to divide 10 by 100, which equals 0.1. And then we need to multiply 100 times 0.1. So 100 times 0.1 equals 10. So each year for the next 10 years, they would take 10% off of $100. So at the end of the year, or at the end of the 10 years, they would take off 10 times 10 equals 100. This would leave Quinn with no money though. So perhaps this isn't the best payment plan. So let's check out and calculate the second payment plan. Now the second payment plan gets a bit more complicated because we have to multiply 0.10 with the amount of money in the account every time. But we can use an equation to make this a bit easier. First, we need to calculate what happens if you take 10% off of 100. So since we already know what that would be, or what 10% of 100 would be, we can just subtract 100 minus 10 equals 90. But now what we need to do is we need to divide the second number, so the number that we received, 90, divided by 100, to give us our ratio of 90. And we need to, 0.9. And we need to use this in our equation to calculate the interest more easily. So to make this equation, we first need to take so you would make it y, or the amount of money, equals the initial value, so 100, times the ratio, 0.9, times n. So what is 0.9 times 10? Now that is truly a good question, but we can simply figure it out using a calculator. Now unfortunately I do not have a calculator on hand, so I will have to do mental math. But I'd recommend that you take your calculator right now and try to calculate 0.9 times 10. I'll give you a minute. Alright, so 0.9 times 10 equals 9. Oh, I see what I did there. My apologies. That was a power right there. I tricked you with that one. Did anybody here fall for my trick? Let's try that again. It's actually to the power of n, with n being the number of years. So actually we'd be multiplying 0.9 times 0.9 10 times. So 0.9 to the power of 10. Now, you will want to take out your calculators for this. You won't be able to calculate it otherwise. However, to calculate this, you would need a scientific calculator. So if you have a calculator at home, or a scientific calculator at home, I'd recommend pulling it out right now. Which gives us 0.34867 yada yada. It's long. Nobody wants to add a number like that. But what we can do is we can round the number. Now, to round a number, we're planning on rounding this number to the second decimal place right here. So we want to keep the decimals up to here, but anything past there we want to get rid of. But how do we do that? Well, first we need to see what's in the third decimal place right here. If the number in the third decimal place is over 5, which it is right now, we first get rid of all these numbers, but the 34 becomes 35. The 4 becomes a 5. You add 1. But if it was less than 5, then we would round down. We'd get rid of all those numbers, but there would be no change to the second decimal place. Now, what we need to do, since we have our number, we need to multiply 0.35 times 100, which would equal 35. And which gives us our answer of Quinn would have $35 left after the 10 years if he chose this payment plan, which makes it the better payment plan. Both aren't great payment plans, but altogether, this one is simply the better payment plan. See? Though, once you learn how to correctly use these equations, then financials are really just simple. Now let's get back to the video. Hold on, both of these plans suck.
Please choose one of the payment plans.
Yeah, I'm not losing my life savings to some gosh darn machine.
Error does not compute. Error.
Now that that's out of the way, I'm one step closer to finding my dog.